What if I told you there is a secret? A real one. Not a motivational quote, not a breathing exercise, not a technique you practice for 30 days and forget. A fundamental shift in the way you see people that makes it almost impossible for anyone to hurt you deeply ever again. Not because you become cold, not because you stop caring, but because you finally understand something about human beings that changes everything. This is the story of Samuel and the teacher who gave him the most important lesson of his life. Samuel was 41 years old, and he felt things deeply. This had always been true. As a child, he felt things deeply. As a young man, he felt things deeply. As an adult, after decades of trying to feel things less deeply, he still felt things deeply. Joy arrived in him fully, completely, overwhelmingly, but so did hurt. And hurt, for Samuel, did not visit briefly and leave politely. It moved in, set down its bags, made itself comfortable, and stayed, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months, long after the person who caused it had moved on entirely. He had been hurt by friends who chose other people, by colleagues who undermined him with a smile, by family members who said things at dinner tables that echoed for years, by a woman he had loved who had left without enough explanation, just enough to leave him filling in the gaps with the worst possible answers, each hurt real. Each one carried longer than it deserved. His colleague and friend, Dr. Amara, a psychologist who had known Samuel for 7 years, watched this pattern with quiet concern. One afternoon she said, "Samuel, can I ask you something as a friend, not a professional?" "Of course," he said. "When someone hurts you, what story do you tell yourself about why they did it?" Samuel thought. That they chose to. That they knew what they were doing. That on some level, they decided I wasn't worth treating better. Dr. Amara nodded slowly. "And that story, does it make the hurt better or worse?" "Worse," Samuel said immediately. "Yes," she said. "It always does. Because that story makes their behavior about you. And the moment you make someone else's behavior about you, you give them complete power over how you feel." Samuel looked at her. "What's the alternative?" he asked. She smiled. "That," she said, "is exactly what I want to show you." Dr. Amara told him about a concept she called the bucket theory. Every person, she said, walks through life carrying a bucket. That bucket contains everything they are dealing with, internally, their fears, their wounds, their insecurities, their history, their unresolved pain, their unmet needs, their bad days and broken nights. When someone treats you badly, when they are cruel, dismissive, careless, unkind, they are not making a statement about your value. They are showing you the contents of their bucket. They are overflowing, and you happen to be standing nearby. Samuel sat with that. "But some people hurt deliberately," he said. "Some people choose to be cruel." "Yes," Dr. Amara said. "And what kind of person chooses deliberate cruelty?" "A person with a full bucket. A person in pain. A person who has learned, somewhere, somehow, that hurting others is how they manage what they cannot manage inside themselves." Hurt people hurt people. It is one of the most consistent truths in all of human psychology. The cruelest people you will ever meet are the most wounded. Not the happiest. Not the most secure. Not the most loved. The most wounded. Samuel thought about the people who had hurt him most. The colleague who had undermined him. A man who had grown up being told he was never good enough. The woman who had left without explanation. Someone who had been abandoned herself so many times that leaving first felt like the only safe option. The family member who said cutting things at dinner. A person who had never been heard in their own childhood and had learned that sharp words were the only ones that got attention. He had never thought about them this way. He had thought about what they did to him. He had never thought about what had been done to them. "This doesn't mean," Dr. Amara said carefully, "that their behavior was acceptable. It doesn't mean you excuse it. It doesn't mean you allow it to continue. It doesn't mean you stay in situations that damage you. It means you stop taking it personally. Because here is the truth that changes everything. Most of the time, when someone hurts you, they are not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. They are thinking about themselves, their fear, their pain, their need to feel powerful or safe or in control. You are not the subject of their story. You are a character who appeared in a moment when their story was at its most difficult. Samuel felt something shift, not dramatically, not with a sudden flood of relief, but quietly, like a door opening in a room that had been closed for a very long time. He thought about the hurt he had been carrying from the woman who left. He had spent 2 years asking, "What was wrong with me? Why wasn't I enough? What did I do?" But what if the leaving had almost nothing to do with him? What if she had been so full, so overflowing with her own fear of staying, that leaving was the only thing her bucket knew how to do? What if her leaving was a statement about her wounds, not his worth? He thought about a mirror. When you stand in front of a dirty mirror, the reflection looks distorted. Unclear. Wrong. You don't conclude that your face is distorted. You understand. The mirror is dirty. People who hurt you are dirty mirrors. They reflect back something distorted, something that says more about the state of the mirror than the truth of what it reflects. Samuel had been looking at dirty mirrors his entire life, and believing what he saw. "So how do I stop?" he asked. "How do I stop taking it personally?" Dr. Amara looked at him. "You ask one question," she said. "Every time someone hurts you, before you decide what it means, you ask, what must be in their bucket for them to behave this way? Not to excuse them, not to feel sorry for them, but to remind yourself that their behavior is a window into their world, not a verdict on yours." Samuel drove home that evening and thought about every person who had ever hurt him, and for the first time, he asked the question, what must be in their bucket? And the answers, when he looked honestly, were not flattering to the people who hurt him, but they were humanizing. And in that humanity, in that recognition that hurt people, something in Samuel began very slowly to release. The first test came sooner than Samuel expected. A week after his conversation with Dr. Amara, his brother said something at a family dinner, a comment about Samuel's career. Casual, dismissive, the kind of thing his brother had said 100 times before, and Samuel felt the familiar sting. The old response rising, the hurt, the withdrawal, the replaying of the comment on the drive home. But this time, before the hurt could settle, he asked the question, what must be in his bucket for him to say that? And he knew the answer. His brother, the eldest son, who had spent his whole life feeling overshadowed, who had never felt his own achievements were enough, who diminished others because it was the only way he knew to feel larger. The comment was not about Samuel. It had never been about Samuel. It was about a man carrying decades of inadequacy and not knowing what else to do with it. Samuel felt something remarkable, not anger, not hurt, something closer to compassion, not the weak kind, not the kind that excuses or enables, the strong kind, the kind that sees clearly, sees the wound behind the behavior, and chooses not to be another casualty of it. He didn't confront his brother. He didn't withdraw. He didn't replay the comment on the drive home. He simply let it belong to his brother, where it had always belonged. The twist in Samuel's story is not that people stopped hurting him. They didn't. People continued to be careless, wounded, overflowing. The world did not become more careful. The twist is what changed inside Samuel. He stopped being a sponge, absorbing everything that spilled from other people's buckets, and calling it his own pain. He became something more like glass. Things could hit him. He could feel the impact. But they passed through, or fell away, without soaking in, without becoming part of him. He called Dr. Amara a month later. "Something is different," he said. "Tell me," she said. "I still feel things. I still notice when someone is unkind. I still feel the sting. But it doesn't stay. It arrives." I asked the question. I understand where it came from, and then it leaves. Like weather, it passes through. It doesn't move in anymore. Dr. Amara smiled. "Samuel," she said, "that is not indifference, that is freedom. So here's the secret. The real one. Not a technique. Not a practice. Not something you do for 30 days and forget. A shift in understanding. One that changes how you see every person who has ever hurt you, or will hurt you for the rest of your life. Hurt people, always, without exception. The person who is cruel to you is carrying something you cannot see. The person who left without explanation is running from something that has nothing to do with you. The person who dismissed you is protecting something fragile inside themselves. This does not make their behavior right. It makes it understandable. An understanding, real understanding, is the beginning of freedom. So the next time someone hurts you, before you decide what it means, before you make it a verdict on your worth, Ask one question. What must be in their bucket for them to behave this way? Answer honestly. And then, let what belongs to them stay with them. You don't have to carry it. You never had to carry it. The secret to never feeling hurt is not to stop feeling. It is to stop absorbing, to feel the impact, acknowledge it, understand its source, and then let it pass. Like weather, like water off glass, like stones that disturb the surface but cannot change what the water is made of. You are not responsible for what people pour from their buckets. You are only responsible for what you choose to carry. Choose wisely. Choose lightly. Choose yourself. If this story gave you something you have been searching for, share it with someone who is still carrying pain that was never theirs to carry. Because somewhere out there is a Samuel replaying a conversation from 2 years ago, asking what was wrong with him, who just needs to hear, nothing was wrong with you. Their bucket was full. Put it down. This video is for him. This video is for you. Thank you for watching.